2023 wasn't a good year for the Carolina Panthers, but I'm trying to make 2024 a better one for myself. Get started on your resolutions with Factor so you're ready for the new year. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning and sets you up for success in the new year. Skip the grocery stores, prep work, and cooking fatigue. Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door. With over 35 meals to choose from per week, including keto options, calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons, you'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options to kickstart your resolutions. Skip that overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and way more delicious than takeout. Get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals delivered right to your door, and they're ready to heat and eat in just 2 minutes, which means more time for you. Head to factormeals.com/C350 and use the promo code C350 to get 50% off. That's code C350 at factormeals.com/C350 to get 50% off.
Yo, what's the deal? Pants fans here for the C3 Beat Check, man, with my man Cody Lashley and Tony Dunn. Check the beat. This week, the Carolina Panthers head to Buffalo to take on the Buffalo Bills, who are coming off a difficult loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in overtime. So we're going to be looking there. We'll be checking the beat, see what the beat writers are saying about the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen's foot, the inconsistency of the Bills, how Hamilton was, because I saw he was at the play Hamilton this past week or yesterday, and no boot. So people were saying that is good. But we'll also peek at the Carolina Panthers beat report. We'll jump to the Athletic, Cat Scratch Reader, Cat Crave. Hey, wherever you want. We'll check out what David Newt's saying on ESPN. See how these guys are covering the Carolina Panthers and news things like Cam Newton and his future with the Carolina Panthers as Sam Darnold returns from IR. Lots of storylines to look at, and I do it with my main man, Cody Lashley. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Tony Dunn, you know I'm happy to be here. This is the C3 Beat Check, where we check the beat of all the Panthers reporters and find out what's going on with this football team. Tony, it's another Wednesday night, man. You know I'm happy to be joining you whenever possible. And listen, we already have a bunch of diehard C3 loyalists in the chat room right now. You know him and love him, man. It's our man Drew, AJ Lindsay, Kent Sullivan, Ted Seams, Panthers Rhule, Tin Tizzy, Dan Floyd, Matt Knows Nothing, Tony Dunn. It's the beat check. Let's check the beat. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. Let's roll.
All right, so we'll start with a little Panthers news, I guess, to start the show. I mean, this is a Panthers show.
Oh, how about this? Well, how about this? Since we're a fan show, congratulations to Tin Tizzy, who brought his first son into the world. Congratulations, Big Papa.
I can't wait to meet little Tony. I can't wait to meet little. Oh no, little Tin Tizzy, man, man, congratulations!
You did a good job to keep pounding, brother. We love it. Congratulations, man. That's a blessing.
We want you guys to drop your stories. Drop some links in the chat to stories that you see floating around the Carolina Panthers world on the beat that you're interested in. If we start with the Carolina Panthers, I guess we could start with their website, right? If we just jumped over to the Panthers.com, I'll pull it up right now. Let's see what's going on over there. Yeah, I mean, that's a reasonable place to start. And it is boring. Oh my gosh.
It's
It
boring
is a
up until
tough.
we get to a certain topic that I'm sure is going to be crazy on the minds of people.
Hasson Reddick sees respect for the Panthers defense. What the hell does that mean? It says this quote, "It's something that's just hard to adjust to as it continually happens to us week in and week out. I look at it as a sign of respect. Honestly, knowing they don't have the matchup or the guys that can stop us from getting the quarterback in true drop back situations." So I guess he's talking about how teams are scheming more and more to account for what was a very potent pass rush in the beginning. An odd way of saying it after a game where there were no sacks. So I would say I see this as a sign of disrespect, homie. But that's a story, I guess.
Well,
Anything
I
to
mean, he
talk
has
about with
played
that?
like one of the best defenders on the team this year. Most people believe he's the guy that we want to come back next year, regardless of how this season ends up unfolding for us. He's been a tremendous football player, and he's also been very ardent online. This man wants to go to the Pro Bowl. So, hey,
Good
man,
God. I mean, he is dying for this Pro Bowl.
if you agree with him, go on Twitter, send out your Pro Bowl votes. I think they're still doing it. Get in on that now if that's something you're interested in, and helping support our man Hasson. And listen, we did this on Debate My Take a few weeks back, Tony Dunn. In my mind, Hasson Reddick is probably the only Panther truly deserving to go to the Pro Bowl this year. Someone who's only been on the team 1 year is probably the person who deserves to be representing the Panthers the most. But
Yeah. All right. Let's see. This is let's check out what old David Newton, my favorite, has to say. Top story on Panthers or on ESPN. The Panthers section, Matt Rhule's rebuilding process for Carolina hampered by turnovers and QB play. Also has some reference to Josh Allen's foot, but let's start with this is good gosh, I don't even know how to talk about this right now. Is that poor Cam Newton? Look, as Matt Rhule has come out, he came out and he was right after the game. Is that turnovers were problematic for this team in this game and hampered their success in this singular game against the Atlanta Falcons. But then he also connected their losing to turnovers throughout the season, which in so many ways was a lot of people think this is throwing Cam under the bus, using Cam as kind of a scapegoat at this point. He had a pick six, did not play exceptional in this game, had a very bad game against Miami the week before. But I mean, holistically, this team is facing a lot of problems. The story right here, though, is the Carolina Panthers' success has been hampered by turnovers. And another way of saying that in this past week's press conference was hampered by Cam Newton.
Yeah, so listen, Matt Rhule did a press conference today, and he had an opportunity to speak a little bit about the quarterback position, about turnovers. People are not very happy with his answer. I count myself amongst those people. Let's listen to what Matt Rhule had to say.
It was just not where we're at right now. He played most of the game last game, just in the 2 minute at the end of the half. We put PJ in a 2 minute, kind of in rally at the end of the game. But our plan is our plan. Cam's got to continue to, he had some good drives, move the ball down the field. We can't, he put two balls on the ground, one drop snap on the second drive, one handoff that result, when the 40-yard line going in, we're down by 6. So I think looking ahead, Cam continues to work, to learn. But, we can't have a quarterback can't have 2 turnovers in 2 straight games. Just, we're not going to win that way. So we have to protect the football a little bit better and kind of go from there. As I said to you after the game, going into the game, I was planning on playing both guys. Really, I think I told you guys directly too. Like in 2 minutes, we planned on playing PJ. Again, in each game, we thought maybe, hey, we'll play PJ in the third drive. Cam takes us right down the field and score. Second drive, we just kind of dropped the snap, didn't convert third down. We said, hey, let's keep playing it. So we just try to have a plan for both guys, just kind of like we have a plan for a couple tailbacks. I know it's maybe.
This is the Matt Rhule I don't like.
On the same page, I don't want to be playing 2 quarterbacks. No one does.
This is the car salesman Matt Rhule that people refer to. This kind of like, it's not.
And it's so contradictory too. He says he doesn't want to play 2 quarterbacks, but yet he's insisting upon doing so. And my thing is this: at what point does he take responsibility, Tony, for his own system? Because I don't recall him having that much to say about Sam Darnold's wanton interceptions and how many he kept on throwing. And then to top it all off, it's like when you have quarterbacks who come in, and it doesn't matter if it's Cam Newton, PJ Walker, or Sam Darnold, the common denominator is they're all throwing interceptions. So at what point does it go back on Matt Rhule to say, hey, we're clearly doing something wrong here, when every single quarterback that we have shares the same interception problems? Tony, last year you and I spent a long time, and very rightfully so, being harsh on Teddy Bridgewater for his perceived lack of leadership ability, and to be out there and get out in front of stories and take the blame and the responsibility. Now, it's never on one person, but if you're the leader of the football team, you're supposed to throw yourself out there. You're supposed to be honest, but also tell us why you and your coaching staff isn't delivering. And Matt Rhule refuses to do this and can't do this. I don't blame you for not liking this version of Matt Rhule. I don't think it's a version. I think this is just who he is.
It's when he gives that this smile, like is that it kind of sucks, but it is what it is. It's like it's your credit kind of sucks, but so the payment on this car is more expensive than it needs to be. Fuck this, man. Good gosh, is what the hell, man? Is like, first of all, we can't have a quarterback that gives you 2 turnovers. First of all, is like, welcome to football, mug. Most quarterbacks have turnovers every week. Is that, yes, theoretically you want perfect games, but man, Tom Brady threw a pick 6 on the 1 yard line 2 weeks ago. Is that turnovers are part of the game. Second, you brought in a quarterback that you're using as a fall guy, as a punching bag right now. And the fact of the matter is that you need to say we can't lose the turnover battle when we are a team that has penalties, that has a shitty defense against the run, that has an offensive line that has trouble protecting the quarterback. We've got to be a team that plays ahead of the sticks, that plays smarter, that plays harder, that does not turn the ball over, because ultimately at this level, it takes mistake-free football to win football games, and that's for teams that are loaded. And we have faced injuries. We have faced some challenges so far, some quarterback changes, and we're not a loaded team, but we're a hard-working team. We are going to be better each and every week. But did he say that? No. Did he just say we got to win the turnover battle? Does he need to say we got to create turnovers, not make turnovers? No, he goes to this person had a bad day. He had a bad day. Well, guess what, Matt Rhule? You a fool. Matt Fool. I'm tired of it. Hey. Your credit's bad with me. Your credit's bad with me, dude.
Doesn't he seem so uningenuous? Like he's disingenuous. Like it feels like he has ulterior motives. It seems sniveling and conniving.
Which he was pitched to us as being the opposite of that.
Yeah.
If you thought about
salesman, I'm telling you, man, David Tepper bought the snake oil from a snake oil salesman. And to me, that's what it looks like, Tony.
Let's jump over and see what's happening with the Bills right now. If you just Google Buffalo Bills under the news on Google, let's see what comes up. Oh, I like this one. Buffalo Bills linebacker AJ Klein returns from the
yeah.
COVID list. You know that name as actually AJ Klein was a good player for the Carolina Panthers, a good rotational player. Goes to the Saints, got some money, not like insane money, but played pretty well from them, and now finds himself reunited with Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane here. For me right here is that obviously the story here has to do with some relationship between the Carolina Panthers and the Buffalo Bills, who they will face on the road. But the bigger story right now, the bigger story, Cody, is all across the sports world. COVID has been ravaging the news over the last couple of days.
And they're at the owners meeting right now. And so what I'm hearing is there's even consideration that because there are so many players on the COVID list, but they're all double vaccinated and they're unsymptomatic as well. So apparently they're trying to pass. I don't know the exact stipulations of it, but they're seeking to pass an amendment that would somehow let these guys play, because I think they have a nightmare scenario, Tony, where we're going to go into the playoffs, have a giant playoff game coming up, and then God forbid,
Tom Brady's out.
Yeah, Tom Brady.
Or they let Tom Brady play. They let Tom Brady play, and it comes to find out later he was COVID positive.
Yeah,
that's what they'll do.
Yeah, so I think they are going to consider changing the rules here, and they should, man. We should always be able to adjust based on better new information, and I personally think that's a good thing. And you mentioned AJ Klein. It's kind of funny because I typically when the Panthers aren't playing the Buffalo Bills, I find myself sometimes kind of low key rooting for the Bills just because of their connection to the Panthers. They have AJ Klein up there, Sean McDermott. Their GM is Brandon Beane.
Mario Addison.
Yeah,
the list goes on and on and on.
Say what you want, but a lot of people make the comparison from quarterback Josh Allen to a young Cam Newton, able to run around, be mobile, throw the football all over the field. So there really is a similar kind of vibe to. They're an aggressive run defense. They're a physical football team, and they were in a lot of ways built on the image of that Panthers team from 2013 to 2017. So I'm really kind of excited to see what matchup this is going to be. Going back to our quarterback woes, we talked about that 2-quarterback system, and Matt Rhule in that very clip said that it's ideal that they don't want to play 2 quarterbacks, but apparently it isn't ideal to everyone. PJ Walker in his press conference acknowledged that using a 2-quarterback system makes establishing a rhythm difficult. He went on to say, this is one of the more crazy seasons that I've been a part of. And Tony, it goes back to Coach Rhule.
He said those words, dude?
Yeah, he said, this has been one of the more crazy seasons that I have been a part of.
That's insane that he would even say that. I mean, not that I'm not saying he shouldn't say that, but he's right.
100% he's right. And again, why do we continue to run with a 2-quarterback system? This is yet another example of head coach Matt Rhule putting our quarterback, whoever it ends up being, putting our quarterback in a position to fail. And it's all on Matt Rhule and his coaching inadequacies.
The Buffalo Bills lost last week to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and what some people would say was a heartbreaker. It was an amazing comeback, at least for the Buffalo Bills, after a very difficult first half where I think the Bucs jumped out on them like 24-7. I mean, it was 24 to something. Like they were down like it felt like 3 scores right off the bat. But I'm telling you, this is your boy, Josh Allen. Holy moly, what a game. One one of struggles in the first half. Oh yeah, man, it was 7-0. It was 17-3 at the end of the half. No, that can't be right. Is that right? Okay, 17-3. Then it was okay. So it wasn't as bad. It wasn't much of a blowout as I thought. I mean, that's still that's 2 scores. Josh Allen, though, however, threw 36 for 54, 308 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. You're like, man, boy, they passed the ball a lot. 308 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Pretty good game, particularly in the fact that they only had 3 points going into the half. But man, when you look at the rushing stats right here, dude, 12 carries for 109 yards. Josh Allen accounted for 417 yards of offense and 3 touchdowns. And this is the headline when it comes to, if you pop over to, I guess this would have been from the Buffalo News. What he did on Sunday is just miraculous, but how much is too much for Bills quarterback Josh Allen? Your love, you're kind of white. He is like the white little Cam. He's like he's a little bit smaller, I would say. It doesn't look as imposing, but same kind of similar attributes. This is from the BuffaloNews.com, and they quoted I guess this would be Craig Cosell. He said every game becomes a referendum on Josh Allen. He needs to be he needs to be great on every play where people think he's not a good player, because the Bills don't have anything else they can do with any consistency on offense. Going on to just say, I guess it takes a heroic Josh Allen each and every week to make this Bills team as good as we thought they were going to be.
Yeah. They they really have been dependent upon Josh Allen running the football. They don't have much of a rushing attack outside of him. They have a few players. A lot of people thought that they would draft a running back this year. I don't know if they did or not, but certainly not enough to help alleviate their rushing woes. Listen, I think, that's part of their recipe for winning football games is Josh Allen being such a good player. He has an incredible connection with Stephon Diggs, and I mentioned that in last night's show, but he really is mobile and a threat to run the football. And also, Tony, let's not pretend like this year alone, mobile quarterbacks, at least that are able to extend the pocket in some kind of way, haven't really done a number on this Panthers defense. There have been a few cases, even, Daniel Jones is one of them. Taylor Heinicke is one of them. Dak Prescott is one of them. Whenever they're able to move the pocket around, it seems as though the Panthers defense is just unable to adjust to it. So, I kind of think he's definitely going to play. Yeah, the soreness is still there, but the Buffalo Bills are fighting for their lives right now. They're in a wild card spot, but they're not guaranteed to it. The AFC is tough this year as well. So, to me, this is just, kind of going through the ringer. In my mind, there's no way Josh Allen doesn't play this Sunday.
You're listening to the C3 Beat Check, where each and every week we check the beat for the Carolina Panthers and who they will be playing that week. This week it is the Buffalo Bills. Often we have, and more often than not, we feature interviews with a beat reporter from the opposing team as well, the Carolina Panthers. I guess full disclosure and transparency for me this week is that as a college instructor, I'm in the final week of school. It's exam week. It's been a busy week, and I slacked on trying to line up the interviews. So even just as much fun as us just popping around the internet, checking out the latest headlines. And I guess the big one was when it comes to the Buffalo Bills, if he is in the kind of the feature of consistency on that offense who needs to be miraculous, he has been dealing with this foot injury, turf toe. They classified it originally as an ankle injury. I've seen turf toe as well. He was seen leaving the game this past week in a boot. But I have seen other stories around the internet that he attended the play yesterday, Hamilton, in no boot. I'm with you, Cody, is that he will play in this game. And that kind of sucks for the Carolina Panthers. This is a tough team to play on the road, a team that has lost 2 in a row, and is kind of underperforming what they believe were the expectations of their season. They're hungry. Yeah. They're in the fight right now. I would say this is I would not be ready to put my money on the Carolina Panthers going into a very hostile place right now, a tough environment with a team that does have an identity on offense and has an identity on defense surrounding that head coach and Sean McDermott. They might be facing some struggles. They might need to be miraculous to win, but that is what it may take in the NFL. Their team right now is more of a team than our team.
Yeah, and Tony, this just in, it leaked online Matt Rhule's playbook for this Sunday. He's going to be running a brand new patented 3-quarterback system. Matt Rhule is a genius, and we didn't even know it, Tony Dunn. He has an incredible plan. He's going to have Cam Newton, Sam Darnold, and PJ Walker all out on the field at the same time. We just need to trust him, man. The Buffalo Bills might not be enough for this 3-quarterback system.
All right, you're listening to the Beat Check, folks. Go ahead and smash the thumbs up button if you are in the chat or listening to this on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts later. We are going to be releasing the Debate My Take tomorrow instead of today because of just trying to distribute the content this week in a kind of more even manner. But we recorded that just before we went live, so look for that tomorrow. And go ahead and hit that notification bell. I'd like for you guys to hit us with some links where the websites or some suggestions of the top websites or storylines facing this Carolina Panthers Buffalo Bills matchup. And I guess we should probably just put maybe we'll just jump over to kind of the heavy hit or the normal hitters, right? Is for me, this is fun. We'll go over to catcrave.com, right?
I love that first article, the name of it, at least. Matt Rhule era being defined by indecisiveness.
All right, let me see if I can scroll. Yeah, defined by indecisiveness. And that is, man, he really is a flippity floppity fish. Like, I mean, I don't know. Is for someone who, for some of us that were I guess at times fatigued by Ron Rivera's resolve, by his, you know what I'm saying, lack of, in some ways, some people would say lack of change, lack of adaptability, lack of trust in young players. Boy, it really sucks when your leadership has less confidence and resolve and vision than you do. I understand that the fan base and myself should be reactionary. We are those winds that blow each and every different way, depending on the moment. But this guy's the captain of the ship, and this dude is soft. He is like a little dandelion puff blowing in the wind. It's tough, man. I mean, that's what I mean. Like, really, it's like, what the hell, man? I mean, he's throwing. Like, what has he done that's shown any backbone at this point?
No, I mean, none. I mean, no backbone, and also, again, no evaluation. I mean, so many people are voicing their discontent for how the offensive line is built, and I think this is starting to be apparent for everyone. He's so wishy-washy. The minute that his quarterback starts to play bad, he throws them under the bus like it's their problem, not even taking into consideration that Cam Newton has come back to try and save this team, and he's still trying to learn a brand new system. All the while, he's firing his offensive coordinator mid-season. I mean, looking at the young players on the offensive line that have yet to really get a fair shake, there's a lot of indecisiveness. And it goes back to what I was saying about Matt Rhule not being a leader of men. He thought he knew how to build a good football team. And the NFL is showing him on the fly that he hasn't a clue.
You know, the real reason I brought this website is because of this. The Panthers earlier this season report or rumor from Ian, according to Rappaport's sources, Carolina called the Philadelphia Eagles to inquire about the availability and asking price surrounding Gardner Minshew, who the team acquired from the Jacksonville Jaguars as a backup. Minshew performed well, according to Dean Jones, in Jacksonville before the organization landed Trevor Lawrence. Sources say during the season, the Carolina Panthers spoke with Philly about Minshew, discussing what compensation would be. They never dug deep on the possible trade, but they did discuss what it might have taken. The Panthers called before they acquired Matt Barkley and before they signed Cam Newton. Given the way the Minshew played this past week, they won't be alone in their inquiries. Well, it's too late to trade for him now, but you know I love some Minshew magic, my man.
Yeah, apparently you're not the only one under his spell. Good old Scott Fitterer thinks that Minshew could have been a contributor to this football team. I'm also interested in why, around what time did the Panthers inquire about?
It's got to be about this the injury with Sam. It's like when they were in that mode. That's what I assume.
So you think this was around the time that before
they decided to bring Cam
Newton back in? Did you want to bring up that theory that you sent to our chat room about?
Can you bring the?
Yeah, I can bring that up.
I saw this tweet. Now this is just a tweet I saw. I felt weird retweeting it because sometimes when you retweet, people are saying, people might think you think it's true. I don't know what to think about it, but I thought maybe I didn't even retweet it at this point. Oh, you didn't retweet it. You're smart. I retweeted and liked that joint because I'm just trying to generate conversation. I don't know if any of this is true. And I hope that people would be reading this would also know whoever this person is, and credit to them. I think it's a smart take. I just don't know if it's verified, but
it sounds like it makes sense. Credit where credit to due. This is from TIG Ronan on Twitter. He says Matt Rhule is digging his own grave. Cam Newton coming back wasn't Rhule's decision. It was Tepper's. By criticizing Cam, he is criticizing Tepper. Just watch how this plays out. And Tony, this kind of plays into the discussion that we have been having on whose decision was it to bring in which quarterback.
Oh my gosh.
And if it was indeed David Tepper who brought in Cam Newton, it would kind of give some credence to the earlier notions and rumors that Matt Rhule was really upset by Cam Newton coming in and that he wasn't very happy with the idea, and that this was something that was forced upon him by ownership. And this is kind of his underhanded way of doing the nan the boo-boo, stick your hand in doo-doo to David Tepper, saying, look, the guy that you thought would come in and save the season hasn't been any better than my guy, my preferred quarterback, who I brought in, Sam Darnold. And it also lets me believe that if Matt Rhule has his way, we're going to be seeing Sam Darnold a lot sooner than we ever intended this year. So I can't imagine that Cam isn't having some maybe even some regrets in coming back to this team at this point in time. It's a sinking ship right now.
I think it's a it's an interesting thing, kind of a thought experiment or speculation, but I don't think it's right. And why I don't think it's right is I feel like Rhule was a little overly enthusiastic and complimentary of Cam when he came in. Like he almost fanned the flames of optimism, I think, to a certain degree about how they wanted to win now. Cam Newton is like a player they think is a guy that can win. They didn't just bring him in for a sentimental moment. He kind of went and laid in heavy and thick on some of those things about how this was. I think he was trying to save his job then. I think he's trying to save his job now. And I don't know if Tepper or who brought him in. I don't, but the kind of the cool question that is, again, if we can revisit this in like 10 years and really find someone who is in the know that knew, like if we could have like talk to Matt Rhule in 10 years and find out who the fuck brought in Teddy, who decide, because in some ways we think it was that Tepper wanted to part ways with Cam and get a fresh, not even this, that he didn't like Cam or something like this, but he just didn't want another season that just went to the wayside because of the dependency on a single player who has been struggling with injury. So then they bring in the safe guy in Teddy Bridgewater, but then there's been so many questions about who the hell decided Teddy Bridgewater was the right option, right? Was that Joe Brady? Was it Matt Rhule, Joe Brady? We talked to Josh Klein last week. He said that was Marty Hurney. Some people think it's David Tepper. And the intrigue just continues and continues to whose fingerprints are on the Sam Darnold move. We were arguing about this on Debate My Take. I mean, do you link, are the fingerprints to Fitterer or are they to Rhule? And now, look, the story just continues. The intrigue, the drama. It's like a soap opera, like a badly written Days of Our Lives. And now we're talking about Cam Newton and Sam Darnold and who won. Oh, my God. Come on. It's crazy. It's a bad episode of Days of Our Lives, or the greatest.
Yeah. Hey, JC, you got to hit that notification bell, man. Sometimes it's good to click it and click it again just to make sure that you get a notification bell every single time we go live. And Tony, yeah, it's embarrassing, man. And I've seen a lot of people online saying, look, man, if you start Sam Darnold after everything that we've been through, getting excited about Cam, then even before this season, Tony, I mean, we were debating, the merits of PJ Walker and Will Grier and who was going to be good enough to win the backup position. Well, effectively, neither of them were. Because
turns out we have three. You know that picture you put up of the new system? All three of those are third string quarterbacks.
Yeah. It's
like, let's just run out Sam Darnold, Will Grier, PJ Walker. I'm not going to put Cam in that conversation, folks. But just a bunch of backup. It's like, oh, who's the tallest midget?
Yeah. Who's
I know you're not supposed to say that.
Who's the tallest amongst the little people?
Actually, you know what? One thing I feel like we need to do is, Cody, is shout out these wonderful people in the chat room right now. There's 58 different people. Give them that love and that they deserve. I know you give them a shout out each and every week.
Oh, man, dude, we have some Panther faithful in here. We have Trill 1 in the building. CJ up in the building. Malachi, Mabe, Jesu, Seeker. What's going on, bro? Haven't seen you around in a minute, man. Glad to have you back. Matt, who called into the Cat Calls line the other night. Appreciate your call, Matt. And then Fade to X, man. Appreciate you all being in here, man, on a Wednesday night. Having a little impromptu show, checking the Panthers beat, seeing what kind of intel we can get on this team right now. There's so much in the air, Tony, about who the quarterback is going to be. It's good that we're able to have these conversations even on a Wednesday night and give the people some actual fun, exciting Panther content to
Maybe.
be a part of.
Is that what it's called? Shout out to R. Priester, Panthers Rhule, Dan Floyd, John Kalishaw on Facebook, Tito Z, Jonathan Ehrig, Trav G as well, man. Thanks for your and Daryl Zero Chill, man. Thanks for being part of the C3 Panthers Beat Check. This we had the podcast last night, great show, and tonight we're just kind of popping around the website, seeing what the not the websites, we're popping around the news. We're checking the beat. And a lot of these topics overlap. Obviously, there's only so much news from day to day. This is just our angle for Wednesday night. We appreciate your time, your support. You can continue to support us by just smashing the thumbs up button. And there are ways to support the podcast monetarily, whether it's buying an iCam, I Stand With Cam t-shirt, or supporting us in any way, I guess, that you guys feel fit. But ultimately, we just like hanging out here and talking about the Panthers. If I go to this, is like, I guess, look, what's the other storyline would be when it comes to on a Cat Scratch Reader? Here are the top storylines. Sam Darnold's return. We talked about that, but the Panthers are now 10.5 point favorite. Underdogs was 11 yesterday when we checked.
For you mean we gained half a point? Yippee!
Because Sam Darnold's back. Oh, yeah. Difference maker.
Sammy Dimes.
Or maybe Matt Rhule's press conference inspired people. Jeez. Actually, this is interesting. I like this. Let's look at this one real quick. I read this story earlier today, or peeked at it, at least I would say. It's a cool story. You can see. So this is on Cat Scratch Reader. Big Mo, this is by Mick Smiley. If that's your real name, that's kind of cool. Making me smiley. The key plays that ignited a dumpster fire in a Week 14 loss to Atlanta. I don't know if I would call this game a dumpster fire. I thought the Miami game was, but kind of like game-changing plays. First quarter with 8:19 to go or 8:19 into the quarter. Cam bullies his way for a touchdown. The Panthers moved from a 73% probability to win to 81% there. The defense forced out a 3-and-out to start the game. Cam Newton orchestrated a methodical drive downfield, Smiley writes, and then trucked his way into the end zone. Carolina up 7-0, moves to an 81% probability. But the Falcons, Russell Gage, he says, beat CJ Henderson. And then Cam will throw a pick six that lets the Falcons tie it up. Let's talk about this CJ Henderson for a moment. I saw him make, so one of the things, we go on the post-game show and we just react immediately, right? And admittedly, I had my kid's concert. It was like a lot of moving and shaking that day, so I'm watching the game on my phone at times, but I feel like I was watching the game from, but like that pick six, I walked out from the car at my house. I was watching the game on TV, and I went and got in the car, and by the time I turned on the radio, pick six. So, it just happened, right? But I thought I had seen, so I just felt like I saw CJ Henderson have one pass breakup, and I was like, oh, man, he's playing pretty good. But then we got on the post-game show, and people were just fucking smoking him. And, if you look at this right here, is that he got smoked here, and this is one of the plays that this guy highlights. CJ Henderson, any thoughts right now? And because he started this game, maybe?
So, again, man, it's like CJ, he was traded for this season. He went to a team that everybody thought would be, a good football team and contending. But part of what we're questioning here, Tony, is our coaching staff. And do we have the right coaches to teach up a group of young guys? And my answer is no. I really don't think that we do. And, I think that CJ Henderson, he's kind of an easy punching bag because he's another guy that's, he's been here for a while now, but he was introduced to the team a little bit late. Tony, I'm just, I think he had a bad game. I wouldn't necessarily say he got exposed, but I mean, I think that we have a premium talent who is still finding his NFL feet. And I think that's a fair criticism. Also, we have to keep in mind that we're talking about CJ Henderson. And, fair or not, a lot of people want to question whether or not this guy really does love football. And you know what, Tony Dunn? Being on this Panthers team, who could blame him for not loving football, right? Especially
the worst place to come to learn to love. Actually, the only thing, you know what, it probably is an upgrade for leaving Jacksonville right now.
That might be the only
Urban Meyer. I just saw a story
upgrade.
where Urban Meyer kicked a former kicker.
Yeah, he kicked a kicker while he was stretching out. His leg was extended also. By the way, shout out to Shalika Ellie. I think she was in our cat calls the other night. Shout out to Shalika. She said, it bothers me to see Rhule dog Cam when he is playing as well as all the other quarterbacks who've been here all season. We weren't even scoring touchdowns until he got here. And Shalika, I echo the
I agree 100 on that.
100%. Cam Newton revitalized this football team this year. And the minute Cam has a rough game, you're going to throw him under the bus. Yeah, he's not a leader of men. And the fact that he's doing
and he means Matt Rhule, by the way.
Matt Rhule. He's not a leader of men, and he's the kind of coach that he wants to put blame on others before putting blame on himself. It's frankly pathetic.
Well, really, the best thing is what Shalika is saying here to me is that, like, despite Cam not being as fantastic as we need him to be, as we want him to be, is that we have been able to move the ball better with him than we were in other cases. You know what I'm saying? Like, is that, I mean, sure, he had these 2 turnovers that hurt in this game. They did hurt and they led to points. But imagine being on the, I mean, I guess you could say that one drive where Sam Darnold led to tie it up against Minnesota. He started on like the 3 or something. But we've moved the ball despite having nothing. Despite our coaches. I think that really, Cam, is that it's just sad. It's just another example of what we kind of have done to Cam. Not we, but like, it's just such a luxury having Cam Newton. Like, he's got to be the only quarterback that doesn't know the system and can play, because you can say, hey, run the ball into this read option and it'd be deadly as fuck.
Yeah, and we haven't seen enough of it.
I know.
Haven't seen enough of it at all. And by the way, Shalika, if you missed this earlier, we were posturing that bringing Cam Newton was a David Tepper move. Now, Tony disagreed with this, but if you believe that David Tepper brought in Cam Newton and forced it upon Matt Rhule, then this is kind of like some weird sadistic vindication for Matt Rhule to say, oh, yeah, look at Cam playing terrible. I never wanted him truly to be the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, and here he is fucking things up for everyone. I mean, Tony, listen, I know you said it was a bad pick 6. It changed momentum, and it definitely did. But one of the things that I'm trying to say is, look, I've been watching Cam Newton since the moment he was drafted as a Carolina Panther. I have seen some very bad Cam Newton interceptions in my day and time. Okay, I'm here to tell you that this is not as bad as some of the other ones I've seen before. It was a great play by the outside linebacker. Great call by Dean Pease. And again, an interception is an interception. I'm not trying to, write it off and say it didn't happen. But it's not like Cam is out there actively not taking care of the football. Even the fumble, man. He had his foot stepped on by Pat Elflein, the center, and was trying to get the football to the running back and damn near did it, Tony. He damn near did it. So it's not like Cam Newton is out there playing reckless with the football. There is no criticism, at least not like the one Matt Rhule levied against Cam Newton, that Cam Newton is actually deserving of. Not more so than any other.
I think
player
you're a little too forgiving in this case. As my continued point comes to this, is that Cam Newton's play has not been as good as desired or hoped for. But again, we asked him to be a savior. Like, just like what I mean, and this is what happened with the reason that the Carolina Panther fans are used to having shitty offensive lines is because we've had Cam Newton as our quarterback, is someone you think about this stupid ass topic. And I know this is mean. You guys get mad at me. One of my friends got mad at me about this, but we talk about the protecting Christian McCaffrey. Yeah. Right. And people are like, oh, you got to protect him. I say, fuck that, man. We don't say that about no other player. And one of the things is here's a good example of that is Alvin Kamara is the same exact player that Christian McCaffrey is, right? They are every bit, and they got to be the most similar comps you can make. Similar
prospects. Same draft, too.
And, I mean, and kind of similar styles, can run, pass, do everything. I asked a friend of mine, and he's a Saints fan, and he said, this is, who was it? It was, Ulrich, what's his name? Hold on. Under the Dome podcast, Ulrich. He said this is, I said, do you guys talk about protecting Alvin Kamara? Like, from how many snaps he has? He's like, hell, there's half of the Saints fan base that says he doesn't get enough touches. So, I mean, if you think about it, it's like, I mean, is this because why is it that with Alvin Kamara, there's an easier ability to say, let's just run the shit out of this mug, but this white Christian McCaffrey, we got to protect. Cam Newton is kind of like that. Dude, he was a luxury. You could have this big, giant, tough man that can endure shitty ass offensive lines. Cam Newton went to the Super Bowl with bums at wide receiver, Mike Rimmers at right tackle, Michael Orr on a rejuvenated season, Devin Funchess, Ted Ginn. You know what I'm saying? Look at what Tom Brady has right now. A great, you know what I mean? Like, he has everything. Cam Newton was this luxury that the Panthers were afforded, and they got like a super fast car and dogged it out.
Yeah, and so one, I agree with you on Cam. I think that Cam has always had to elevate terrible offensive lines in front of him. And
he's got to do it again right now. That's what I'm saying. We asked him to be a savior.
There are people in the chat room that are still like, 2 back-to-back turnover games. Listen, I'm saying every single player has to be held accountable when you're playing bad. And I'm sorry, but the interceptions that Sam Darnold threw are not as equal to the ones that Cam Newton threw. If you're throwing into double coverage and throwing where your receiver isn't even at, then you're just being reckless with the football. Yes, Cam Newton has been turning over the football, but he has not been reckless with the football. And I don't think that's an unfair criticism to make. And then, I also think, going back to your comparison to McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara, I also think that Christian McCaffrey has that narrative around him because he's proven himself to be far more fragile than Alvin Kamara. And yeah, Alvin Kamara has had some injuries, but overall, Alvin Kamara, when he is on the field, they look like a completely different football team. But he's been through the ringer, I feel, a little bit more than Christian McCaffrey has. So I don't necessarily think it's that kind of narrative. I just think that one has a history that the other doesn't. But again, man, and Thomas Davis knows, Tony, all these Panther players feel confident coming out and speaking about this team because it's obvious for everyone to see. We all know that this offensive line is terrible, and literally Panthers greats are shouting it to the world.
Who's the greatest quarterback in NFL history?
In NFL history, at this point, it's probably Tom Brady.
Do you know that just a couple of weeks ago, he played, I'm pretty sure, I just pulled it up, the Saints. They lost to the Saints on October 31st, 36-27. He had 2 picks. They lost again the next week to the Washington football team, 29-19, 2 picks. Man, the greatest of greats. 2 turnovers 2 weeks in a row. Fucking, maybe we should trade them Sam Darnold to save them.
You know what? I mean, that might be the move, you know? Maybe
no, but you think Bruce Arians came out and said, well, you can't win when you got Tom Brady turning the ball over 2 times a week.
Yeah. And you know what? Arians is known for being very open and honest. Yeah. So, yeah, maybe you would have.
Maybe he was. This is the story like you were referencing on The Athletic. We got to give Joe Person a little love over there on The Athletic. And I guess he was able to see, what does it say? During the streak of 3 consecutive. All right, let's see. So I guess he was asking, maybe he got to talk about with Thomas Davis how he feels about Cam Newton. He says, I'm still a believer in Cam Newton. I feel like he has a lot to offer to this team, and I feel like he's the best option for them to win games right now. I guess I'm reading that right. Asked him about his cameo experience with the Washington football team, Georgia fan. You know, let's just, I guess, not finish this article with, but so many people have taken the low blow at Cam Newton for being a locker room cancer. I don't know if they've said that, but a diva, self-centered. And I gotta tell you this is, why would a defensive guy, somebody that's on the defense, show so much love? I can understand even Greg Olsen, because Cam Newton made Greg Olsen's career. You know, Greg Olsen will go to the mattresses over some Cam Newton. God bless him. That's why I love Greg Olsen so much, is how much of a supporter he is. Like, he's got Cam Newton's back because he knows Cam Newton had him. But, like, there ain't no reason that Charles Johnson, Thomas Davis, and these people got to come out on the other side of the ball so much. They could take the attitude a little bit like, oh, man, everybody always talks about Cam and they didn't talk about us enough. They ain't like that. They love Cam. They love Cam. So
a lot of people do. Most people that are around Cam Newton for any length of time end up falling in love with the player, the work ethic. But, yeah, listen, Tony, I think the sad state of affairs that honestly we knew before the Panthers signed Cam Newton is that this quarterback who has, you know, done so much for us as fans of this team, probably is not going to get the opportunity to go out on his own terms, especially if the narrative going forward is that Matt Rhule is going to bench him in favor of Sam Darnold or even PJ the minute he starts to show any struggles going forward. I mean, the margin of error for Cam Newton is next to none. And you factor in all the other things about, bringing in Cam Newton in the middle of the season, not having enough time to really, fit into this offense, firing Joe Brady. It's like Cam Newton is in a lose-lose situation. And this was our fear for Cam in even deciding to come back to the Panthers. So, I mean, yeah, it's sad to see that it's come to this. CJ in the chat room says Cam loves this shitty team so much. He'd even settle being a backup practice squad quarterback or even a Gatorade passer. As long as he's with the team, he doesn't give a fuck. I don't know, man. It's so
I don't know
tough.
how he can be like that. I mean, God bless him. I think it's again shows how cool, like how good of a dude he is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's a big dick. Who knows?
Well,
Um,
he's no
I
Teddy
mean,
Bridgewater.
right, exactly.
Who is, right?
Just poking over to Panthers wire. Panthers Matt Rhule says I don't want to be playing two quarterbacks, but continues to play two quarterbacks, like you said earlier with the three quarterbacks. Yeah. Maybe that's the next.
See how he contradicts himself? Like, am I wrong? Is that not an open like you don't want to play two quarterbacks, yet you're willing to, and you're going to continue to do so? Like, how hypocritical is this? He's talking out of both sides of his mouth.
Have we missed any stories, folks, that you guys want to talk about on the beat check as we start to circle this sucker out? Shalika, again, thank you for the support. $4.99 super chat. We appreciate it, man. And all the people in the chat room, we appreciate your time and your input. Smash the thumbs up button. Be a part of the conversation. Let us know what storylines you want to talk about. She says this, I think if you give Cam a real offseason and training camp, he would be a decent bridge. Oh, my gosh. This is Cody's burner account.
I'm telling you, Shalika is my spirit animal. We're on the same wavelength.
I've been I feel like Rhule's getting himself fired, though. Rhule is going, will hang his hat and the ghost. Say that, Rhule will to hang his hat and ghost seeing Sam Darnold.
Oh, so Rhule is going to hang his hat on go seeing Sam Darnold.
Oh.
And by the way, I think it was Seeker in the chat earlier. Someone, forgive me, who said it. Mike Florio of Pro Football Talk is predicting that there's no way that that Matt Rhule makes it to the end of the season, or that he's out at the end of the season. Yeah, it was Seeker. That's what Mike Florio is saying. A lot of people, Tony. I mean, it has escaped the realm of Panther fans like me and you talking about this. But now mainstream media outlets are picking up and running with the story that Matt Rhule does not appear to have a very long leash. I mean, this is a real thing now. Everyone knows, if they've been paying attention for any length of time, that the quarterback, or that the head coaching seat is hot here in Carolina, as it should be.
Dude, it's like a George Foreman grill hot. It is like a green egg, a Traeger grill that's it is hot. His dude should not be and he's trying to run over people with the bus. Cam Newton being that person. All right. I don't know. Is there any other storylines that we have missed and that we need to talk about when it comes to the Carolina Panthers? I did see one tweet earlier. I can't find it that quickly, but about how the Panthers defense is regressing right now. Like it was not regret. It wasn't about the Panthers. It was looking at like all NFL defenses. But the guy said, maybe I can find it real quick. But it was like the defenses that were trending up versus, and like a look across the league. And he offered like 3 points of summation. And the Panthers were like not heading in the right direction.
Yeah, that's not a surprise for anyone paying attention.
If I can find it real quick.
Yeah, even Phil Snow. We have to give our fair share of criticism to him too. This entire team backslides, and he is a part of that backslide. And we've been very favorable to him.
Oh, here it is.
We've been very favorable to Phil Snow in saying that he's our best coach, and he might still be our best coach, but. I think, and also to be fair to Phil Snow, it's tough on your defense when your offense is inept and can't move the football. Your defense is on the field all the time. So again, you win as a team and you lose as a team, and this team doesn't know how to win together. It's been a problem. It's going to continue to be a problem going forward. But how about this? Before we get out of here, 68 people watching, 45 thumbs up. Please hit the like button, hit the notification bell for every single time we go live. And we do this podcast year round, so you're never going to be without the C3 Panthers podcast. And how about this? Before we go, Tony, to everyone in the chat room, all 69 of you still hanging out with us right now, who do you think the Panthers should go forward with at quarterback this season? I want to see you type Sam, or I want to see you type Cam. Come on, I want to see it. I want to see who you think. I'm on team Cam Newton. You all know where I lie, man. I'm always going to be pulling for Cam Newton no matter what. People think I'm too favorable to Cam, that I make excuses for Cam Newton. But you know what? I am a Cam stan. I make no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And it seems to me the chat's agreeing with me, man. Tim Esther says Cam. Seeker says Cam. Matt. Michael Washington says Cam. John Jenkins says Cam. No one says Sam Darnold. Cody 04 Seahawk is in the building. He says Cam. Mossy Man says Cam. Oh, chocolate Jesus. Oh, that's a new one for Cam. How about that? ATX19 says Cam. Listen, Tony, I think Matt Rhule is cruising for a bruising, because this fan base wants to see Cam Newton do well, and Matt Rhule is not going to give him the opportunity to do so. He's gone, Tony Dunn. It's hotter than a George Foreman grill. There's a real down south barbecue pit lighting on fire, and Matt Rhule is about to be for dinner.
I tried to tell you guys this fool's gone. Tomorrow we recorded it right before we went live with this show. So Debate My Take has been recorded. We are debating still over what time to premiere it tomorrow, Cody and I. But we decided to spread the content out over 2 days rather than hitting you guys with back-to-back content right away. Interestingly, the professor may have said it's time to start Sam Darnold.
Blech.
I did argue that point, that the answer is Sam Darnold.
I might vomit.
You Cam fans out there, you Cam fans, which I am the biggest Cam fan, don't worry. This is like one of those things where I'm doing it to save the person I love the most. I'm ready to sacrifice Sam Darnold rather than Cam Newton. Oh, you pulled down the thing. I was just going to say this. Did you see this? This was the thing I was talking about. Bills lose the lead for the first time. Patriots defense is now number one. Saints defense keeps tame in the playoff race. Panthers defense loses ground slowly. Chargers and Chiefs defenses are trending upwards, and the Bears defense is without Mac is a mess. The Panthers have been, man, they're just getting grinded down on defense. Can't stop the run, problematic. Can't stop anything. Can't catch a break, and it's probably got to do with Matt Fool. All right, I think most of the people talked about what they want to talk about in the chat. You got any last things you need to say as we think about this beat check?
I'm just hoping to rip off the Band-Aid at this point. It's like I'm torn because I want to see Cam Newton do well, man. I'm a Cam Newton super fan, Tony. You know this. Everyone in the chat room knows this. I want to see Cam do well. I just sadly I don't think it's gonna happen. And like Shalika is alluding to, we might already be boarding that tank, Tony Dunn. We might not have a lot of picks, but man, if we lose out, we would be dealing with potentially even a top 5 pick. Now, who do you pick with that spot? I don't know. But, Tony, it's going to be interesting seeing what the Panthers do going forward. I think you mentioned the other night that whenever the Bills lose, They normally
they
come back with a
They
vengeance.
they love to stomp people's asses coming out the next game. When it comes to my position with Cam and Sam versus Cam, we did this on Debate My Take. Check that out tomorrow. We did a lot of cool topics, Cody. We did greatest of all time for all sports, best team in the NFL. What else did we do on Debate My Take this week? Cam versus Sam. Our friend Matt FGF on YouTube submitted some suggestions, and we did 2 of them, best and worst off-season move. But I took the Sam. But I'm telling you this is I said this. I was the guy that had to take the Sam Darnold position. Didn't have to, did it? And that was something you said thank you in our pre-game meeting right there for doing that. But I'm telling you right now, Cam is ultimately the terrorist, Cam Newton is the mosque or the school, and Matt Rhule is the terrorist in the basement using him as a shield.
Oh.
It's a human shield, bro. He is sacrificing Cam Newton, and I don't like it. I say move your terrorist activity to Sam Darnold's house. All right.
Oh, man.
All right, so look, as you just, I guess that, man, we'll end it for here. We've been going for over an hour, man. You guys we got the best fans on YouTube, man. And if other people don't agree, I don't give a shit. You will debate that on Debate My Take next week. You guys were fantastic. C3 Panthers podcast is the longest running Panthers podcast, been going strong since 2013. Never missed a week. Now bringing you content on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. for the longest running Panthers podcast, as well as Wednesday with the Beat Check. Tomorrow, Thursday, Debate My Take is fantastic. Check out the new intro music. You will love it. You're out of order. You're out of order. This whole court is out of order. Friday night, what you got going on, Cody?
Yeah, listen, man. Friday night, we do the Friday free-for-all at 7 p.m. And you can join the show. You can come on the show, be a part of the C3 podcast. I'll let you come on and talk whatever you want about the Carolina Panthers. All you got to do is show up for the Friday free-for-all every Friday at 7 p.m. right here on the C3 Panthers podcast YouTube page. I'll be putting the link in the description of the YouTube and Facebook link for anyone who wants to join the StreamYard. I'll be posting it in the comment section. And yeah, man, it's a good time. We have the cult of free-for-all, man, where everyone just comes on and enjoys talking about the Carolina Panthers. It's been fun. And hey, look, we don't even care what affiliation you have. If you're an Eagles fan and you want to come and talk some shit, we'll let you do that too, man.
We got to ask you this. Is you going to get Hasson Reddick, the Philly boy coming home? Are you going to pay him the big bag to get some extra pass rush?
Oh,
that's the question for the Philly fan right there.
We might have to, man. He might be our only pass rush. That might be another topic for another night. But man,
I hear you, man. So, check out that Friday free-for-all. It's an open mic night for Panther fans and for football fans. As long as you don't come out and do what the best Friday free-for-all story is one that can't be re-spoken of. First, to not give any really trolls any ideas, but also to not get us banned from the internet. Oh my goodness. All right. So that's the Beat Check. Next week we've got the Bucks, right?
After after
I think it goes Bills, Bucks, Saints, Bucks.
Yeah, Bills, Bucks, Saints, Bucks. Yep.
So we'll have I got some good Buccaneer connections. So check out the Beat Check and the C3 Panthers podcast next week. Smash thumbs up button, subscribe, leave a review, and tell a friend about the podcast. That's the best way. Thanks for your support. It was hold on, I don't want to miss who hold on, who were the super chats tonight?
Shalika.
Shalika,
Shalika was
thank you,
time.
Shalika, for the super chat. We appreciate your support, but we appreciate everybody. Well, we appreciate that support, but we also appreciate all the support of the people in the chat room and all the listeners for your time. Your time is valuable, and I'm very thankful that you hang out with us. Like I'm thankful for my wheelman Cody Lashney, who is always my main dude, keeping me enthused about this discussion. Cody, let's get the hell out of here.
Until next time, Panther faithful, keep pounding.
Looking for a fun way to win up to 25 times your money this basketball season? Test your skills on Prize Picks, the most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projected stats, and place your entry. You can turn $10 into $250. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit up to $100. Just visit prizepicks.com/fan and use code FAN. That's code FAN at prizepicks.com/fan.
Must be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.